Greetings and greetings to you all. Thank you for joining us again in this 5 minute spiritual quest. My name is Mr. Abdullah Ngom. And today in this 5 minute journey is about the scripture. We're going to talk about the scripture of Christianity, the Holy Bible. With many think or believe that this book is a holy and is a divine book. But this book is far from being divine or holy. As a matter of fact, is the opposite of holiness and divinity. If you know what this book truly is. And that is today's topic in this 5 minute spiritual journey. To decipher the Holy Bible of Christianity. Now, to go in depth in this book to reveal what it truly is, I'm going to give you a parallel metaphor that we have seen unfolded in a method of executing a crime by our governmental system that will relate to what we're about to reveal in this Holy Bible. Because this Holy Bible, if you would give it its proper title or definition, it would be a crime manual book. Not a holy book, but a crime manual book. How the government system work and how the religious system is the same thing. It's just different method. But the architect is the same thing, same mindset. So when you understand the function of one, to understand the other will not be that difficult because it's the same mindset. It is the architect is the same. You see, our governmental system. Let's say they wanna take out one of their own. If the government wanna take out one of their own, what they do? They don't plot. They plan. A sophisticated plan, in which a normal, regular will not able to understand it. Even though when it's already executed, it will still a debating factor. For instance, let's say the assassination of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King. Okay, these are high-profile high-profile individuals, well planned. Even though it was decades ago, it's still not been solved. And you have to ask the question, why? Why this case still not been solved? Because they were not meant to be solved, and they cannot be solved. Because the same system make the plan, commit the crime, is the same system who's doing the investigation. So this crime will never be solved, cannot be solved within. And what happened is when there's an outsider, you see, who commit the crime, that's easy. That's easy to solve. Who did it, that easy to solve. How they did it and why, that will require someone with high intelligence who understand how the system works. How and why. But who did it, that is not a mystery. That is not a mystery. That's easy to know who did it. How and why, does require someone who understands how the system works in order to solve the case. And if an outsider who try to solve this crime, two things can happen to you. The government, the very same system will take you out or discredit you as irrelevant, because these cases that are not meant to be solved. That's why decade and decade people keep talking about a lot of different scenario and talk never solve. Something that can be solved very, very easy, because they were not meant to be solved. This is the reason they have their classification method. And this type of crime, this type of assassination on higher level, these are at the highest level of classification, which very, very few would put their eyes on the planning, the evidence. And you have to ask, why such a horrible or such a risky that if it's revealed or leaked, it can damage your whole system. Why keep it? But for them, it's an ego thing. To keep this, the evidence is an ego thing, because it makes them feel like they're smart. They commit the crime and get away with it. That's why they keep it. And the level of classification on that level is basically not to be seen ever. And if it's going to be seen, it's not going to be on that generation. See, that's the topest level of classification, which only very few can see it, and it's sealed. It was meant to seal indefinite. See? But they have the documents. That's when they go and look at it and feel good about themselves. And if they want to do it again, they contact that, they can upgrade, and ego thing. That's how the system, that's part of the evilness of the system. They, the documents are there. They plan it, execute it, and get away with it. This is for the governmental system. Now, for the religious sector, when you come to this, you see the same plan to execute high-profile target, John F. Kennedy and King and many others, who the same system make the plan, commit the crime, do the investigation, and seal the evidence. The same. But here in the religious sector, the plan is not classified. It's revealed. That's what this is. It's not to do research to find out. It's to decipher it, to be able to decipher it, to be able to decipher the plan. This book have responsible for all the great crimes humankind have committed in the land of this earth. Which story you hear here? From the crumbling walls of Jericho, Christ being crucified, to slavery in our time, all is due to this book. Yes, slavery. This book was the catalyst of slavery. Leviticus 25:44-46. So if you need slaves, you can go around the nation around you and you can get them from there. You can buy slaves. You can buy slaves if you need them from the nation of your surrounding. The scripture. In Ephesians 6:2, he said, slaves to obey their earthly masters. Respect them with fear. So sincerity in heart, as you will show Christ, the Lord. He brings slave masters at the level of Christ. So slaves have to obey, respect, and fear the slave masters as they would with Christ. In this book, you go from the very beginning, Exodus 21. He said, you can beat your slaves. As long as they not dead, if they recover in day or two, it's okay, as long as they're not dead. Catalyst of slavery. This is what the missionary took to Africa to slave Africa. This manual that I see as a holy and divine. Because of this, Christ was crucified. It's a formula. As government classify or consider their plan of high-level crime, this one is not high. It's written for one to decipher. It need to be this. It's not hidden. It's to be understood, to be deciphered. It's not classified. This is not classified. That's why, just as government that hire those who investigate his own crimes, it's the same thing. The investigators are priests, scholars who debate what this is saying. They're not here to solve the crime. They talk about the crime. They're not debating or looking through the credibility of the book itself. But before you waste your time in anything, don't you supposed to do the first step to find out what is their credibility, whether this word pursuing or not? That's supposed to be no-brainer. The source have to be valid. Oh, you can give them a story that sounds so good, but what is the evidence? What is the source? Where does this come from? What is the evidence? They have to have something solid that can back it up. Something that can back it up. You cannot say anything in a court of law without having anything to back it up. If you don't, it will be invalid. That's what this is. If scholars and preachers who preach this nonsense to people, or scholars that only debate what is in it, if they want to see the credibility, want to debate the source, whether this hold any ground for what is in it, that will not even take much. That will not even take much to realize that this is the opposite of divinity, is the opposite of holiness. Just at a very basic level, the way it's set up. This book is two parts. Old Testament, New Testament, all put together as one book. Now, we know beyond any doubt, in reality, Christianity and Judaism are not the same religion. They are two different religions, totally. In every way. Judaism, they have synagogue. Christianity, they have church. The way method of worship, different. Belief system, different. Different in every way. But here they are, united in theology. Different in reality, but united in theology. A formula of confusion from the get-go. Confusion and contradictory from the get-go. And confusion and contradictory, that is the opposite of divinity and holiness. This is the opposite of what it represents, or what it claims to represent, the opposite. a book that is united as a theology debating factor to two opposite religions who are not one of the same and they don't like each other. But here they are as a formula of debating factor. How can you say you are a scholar and not able to realize this simple fact of deception in truth has zero credibility in the court of moral righteousness? If you're a scholar, you're supposed to know that. But it's just like the government investigators who are investigating the crime of the government. That's why they are hired. That's what they are hired to do. They will not hire outsiders. They're not interested for the truth to come out. They want to waste people's time. And those who investigate, they put people, as a matter of fact, throw away people for not to make them focus on one direction, because the mass might able to get together and able to point finger. Okay, that's it. No, but those who are in charge are there to throw people away from the truth. They're not there to find the truth. They're there to protect a crime. They're there to protect the crime, not to reveal the truth. That's what scholars and preachers, scholars who debate about this book, and preachers who preach this book to people, they all working for the same institutions that put this together. Christ was crucified because of this. This was the catalyst of slavery. How can this then be holy or divine? And why Christ was crucified? Because of this. Let's dig to that. The enemy knew that there would be a Christ, there would be a coming Messiah. That's where the plan, you can call it reverse psychology. The enemy know who Christ will be. So therefore, he paint a different image that will not align with the true Christ. Give them description where will not be aligned with the true Christ. So therefore, when Christ comes, it will easily say, oh, that's not you. Because this is what the scripture said. The scripture was the plan. The scripture was the plan to crucify the real one. Because he gives you a first definition that will not align with the real one. That's why in the scripture, he said when Christ was a little boy, he went to the city with his parents, and he went to the temple. And he was interacting with the priests. And they were impressed or intimidated by his knowledge about the scripture. So how can he know it? No, he must have told them, what you're learning is not the real deal. And they were offended. They said, where he get this knowledge? How can he have so knowledge about the scripture that he did not know? Because he have the real scripture within. That's what the Christ and anointed, they have the scripture within themselves. It's not a book. They have them, it's within them. So anything that does not align with what is presented to them, they can automatically decipher it. Now, this does not align with what I have inside. They have a scripture, they are walking scripture. Let's put it that way. Anointed one, or messiahs, true messiahs and anointed one, these are walking scriptures. They have it in them. They come up with it. That's why anything does not align with that, they easily can decipher it. No, this is not it. This is not it. Because it does not align with the truth. So that's why you see after that, even in the scripture, after that moment as a boy, then long gap, you see him again when he become what? As a Messiah. How can someone who had that much knowledge or his birth anticipated that he would be a king? According to the story, many children were killed to prevent him to be who will be in the future. So many have died based on this prophecy. Then when Christ started his ministry, what he was teaching did not align with what was written. So that was the conflict. That was the setup. He was teaching the truth, but it did not line with what they are taught to believe that is the truth. Failed to realize what they were learning is not valid. It was the setup. For that, Christ was crucified because he became irritated. He became controversial. He became threat to what they believe. They know what he was saying. There's a lot of truth to it. But it threatened what they believed. It threatened what they hold on to. It threatened what they hold on to. So what is the solution? Let's get this man out of the scene. And if it's the true one, if he's crucified, he will have to come back. So we have nothing to lose. Get him out of here. And let's see what happened. And there you have it. They committed the greatest crime. One of the greatest crime. They committed that. That's what they set up to begin with. To make them believe what will not align with the truth. That's a tactic with the architect of the system. And now, it worked with Christ. That's the reason, the main and the only reason the Old Testament and the New Testament is put together. That's the only reason the New Testament and the Old Testament is put together. It's put by the same architect. Since is a reminder, since he worked with Christ, think it will work for the next one. Because he know the anointed one will come. It's coming. Inevitable. And when he comes, that will be his downfall. Second coming. Second coming will be different with the first coming. He knew that. So therefore, he put the Old Testament and the New Testament together to continue his campaign. That's why you see the New Testament, the Antichrist, Christ, Antichrist. To create confusion. So therefore, was the who's who? Because he already selected his. Ready to be put to the scene. The moment the true anointed one emerge, he will launch his to confuse people to the who's who and what is what. Since he described the true one, the real one, his character, he does not know all about the plan of the real one. He knows just enough. not all of it. So therefore, he portrayed the first one, the real one, as the first one. What he's gonna do, or he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. This is gonna be the character. You will know that this is the Antichrist. See? So for the same purpose. So when the anointed one comes, it's already in a people's mind based on the strategy that he's the Antichrist, because it's already written. It's already 2,000 years ago. And now we're witnessing it. It's the plan. Same plan that crucified Christ is the same continuation to the New Testament. That's why these two books were put together. Christ was crucified based on what is written. He contradicted what is written, and he was crucified for that. The second coming will contradict all about it, and he will label the same thing as is the Antichrist. He banked on the same strategy. But one thing, not just one thing, there are many things they failed to realize overseas. We are not 2,000 years back. 2,000 years back is not modern time. Because at this point, there are many awakened souls who no longer sleeping. There are many souls who no longer walking blind. Let me repeat that. 2,000 years ago, it's not our modern time. Big difference. There are many who their consciousness no longer asleep, are awake about the truth, or yearning for the truth, or can recognize the truth at this moment in time. And there are many souls also who no longer blind. There are many who no longer be sheep, to be led by a wolf. There are many who are sheep who no longer afraid to walk alone. There are many sheep who no longer afraid. There are many who are already awake, know the truth, or want the truth, or will recognize the truth, because they're no longer sleeping. This is what the enemy did not see coming, maybe, or overlook. Time frame. That's why they come up with Armageddon. The prophesied, how they prophesy the battle of Armageddon is 2,000 years ago battle strategy, war strategy. They failed to realize time frame, time development. Because right now, we not fighting, war is not fought like 2,000 years ago. So the Armageddon in the scripture, the way it's described, is impossible. Is impossible. The way it's described here. For all nations to get together in one area to fight a war. Nations don't wanna get together. They're more effective hiding, launching whatever their weapon behind closed door, let alone get all together. It's the opposite. The way Armageddon is described here, humankind fight war the opposite. No longer in a battlefield, but behind closed door. Missile be launched far, far, far in distance. So basically, they overlook many things that prevent this to be invalid. See? And again, humankind are no longer asleep. Many are awake to the truth, to recognize the truth, or yearning for the truth. They are awake. And many are walking, no longer blind. Their eyes are open. They can see what is what. So, if you bank on deceiving people based on reality, you have another thing coming. Because if you want to make people believe that the sun and the moon are one of the same, or the sun is the moon, or the moon is the sun, to convince that to people at this moment in time, you will be disappointed. You will be disappointed because people are no longer asleep. Just believe whatever they are told. One who can see the sun does not need someone to tell them that's the sun. Because those who are blind, now they can see the sun. And to deceive them that that is not the sun, this is a manual. Just as you have the book The Art of War, it's the same thing. This is the book plan for evil, greatest plan to be carried out to the ignorant or devotion. Ignorant for not understanding what it is, or devoted to do whatever it requires. This is a strategy of evil. But one thing is for certain. God and the devil are not the same, are the opposite of one another. The darkness and the light are not the same, are the opposite of one another. The sun and the moon might be entities up there, they're not the same. So the anointed one that God will send to this earth to free humankind, as the prophecy prophesied, that darkness have fallen, humankind have been free, and divine order has been restored. This prophecy, this vessel that God will give this mission, there will be no slight of a doubt that this is of God. Not slight of a doubt. Every soul who yearns for the truth will know the sun and the moon cannot be mistaken. Christ and Antichrist, if they were even that, their plan, the one they groom, the devil is not even a match. The devil is not even a match to the messenger of God that is about to be seen by all. The devil is not even a match, let alone his elected. Let alone his elected. This is a strategy for the devil to carry out his plan, or humankind to carry out the devil's plan, strategy. Through this, Christ was crucified. Through this, many souls are perished due to the crime strategy of this. Slavery, also all culture wiped out because of this, the strategy of this. See? This is not of God. Is the strategy of the enemy of God, the enemy of humankind, setting up humankind to commit crime against their God. That's what this is about. But this coming, what they call Christ and Antichrist, the final battle, is not even a battle, because there's no match. There's no match. It's not a battle. Let me say it this way: the final reveal. It's not a battle. It's a reveal. The final reveal to shame evil. Because the battle is already done. The battle is already won. They know who God is, and they know who the warriors of God are. The battle is won. They're not a match. So this is not a battle. They're not a match. We just reveal, educate, and reveal. That's the battle of Armageddon declared from the heavens. And this is a strategy of the enemy. Not holy. Nothing holy about it. It's a plan of evil. This is a plan of evil, not a work of God. So I think I'm going to leave it here till next time. We have a lot to share, but in due time. Many souls are already awakened. Many spirits can now see their way. Do not be deceived, because the truth is not hidden. Do not be deceived, because the truth is not hidden. And use your sovereignty. Use your sovereignty as a truth seeker to stand with the truth. Because if you stand with the truth, you never fall. You never fall standing with the truth. Don't be intimidated. Do not be intimidated by lies. Do not be intimidated. Souls are waking up. Many souls have been wakened. And many eyes are open now to see their way. And many souls are awakened to have the courage to stand with the truth. So don't be deceived. When the sun comes, you just know that's the sun. It's not a debating factor or a debating matter. It's just a fact. It's just a fact that every ounce of your being will know this is the sun. It's not a debating factor. It's a reality. It's a reality. So I'm going to leave it here till next time. As always, be well, and God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in.